Hello, YouTube modeling community. This is Rusty Rotor. Excuse me. With what's on my bench. This is being filmed earlier because I'm just afraid by the time I get home on Friday and everything else, it'll take forever to upload. So I'm going to film this now, and then we'll upload it Friday, and you guys should get it out at a decent time. I've worked on and off on these two, the 32 Roadster and the EV charger. We'll go over some pros and cons, my ideas, what I'm doing to them, and you know, as normal, you guys can down there in the comments put all your wonderful comments down there, any ideas, suggestions, so on and so forth. The gentleman's contacted me. The hood is on its way for Lael's Camaro. So when we actually get that in, we'll do a review of the product. We'll try it out and see how it fits on the kit and the two kits that I'll be using to make that awesome car. Let's see. Nothing else is going on. Like I said, you know, I'm doing a little stuff here and there for my brother. I'm going to try to this weekend. Don't know if I can or not. Depends on how much free time everybody's got in the house. Get the love seat moved out of my room and move everything off this desk and take it apart where they join, which is not, it's just a matter of a few screws, and kind of get everything out from underneath of it and set over there, and I'll find all my missing pieces that jumped out and went into the abyss. And then we're going to create a toe plate across the desk areas like this. It's got built-in shelves underneath it, so we don't lose anything else ever up underneath there. So that'll be a little addition. Turn you around here so you can see where that white cabinet is. That is coming out of there, and we will extend that desk from where that pledge bottle is sitting all the way over to the black cabinet. That will enable me to get all that organized better. All these shelf or drawers you see will all be incorporated in underneath the diorama table and this desk and the back desk. So make it not so crooked. Well, come on. All right. I have been in my spare time catching up on everybody's videos. And I've been talking with Old Tom, Rambler 69, off and on. Alvis, if you guys were at Acme, you're aware of who he is and what he does. He is making some special machined aluminum parts for that 40 Ford convertible, because we will be building it box stock, just with, you know, some custom features here and there, nice paint job, nice tires and wheels, but we'll be running the flathead. And when those are done and they get to me, we'll review them and take a look at it. I'll have some contact information for you if you're looking for the same things. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. It's just been a busy week. Getting some information in here and there about, you know, my situation. So we're trying to make some preparations and get ready for that. Not much to say on the EV. I mean, it's the body's standing out really smooth. I mean, you can still see some of the lines in there. I do recommend a filler primer. You know, spray your first 1-2 light coats, whatever, a filler primer on there, and then sand the whole body down, and then see if you need any more. What I thought were some just some waves in the resin, like below the surface. Actually, it is above the surface. So you may check if you get one. These areas right here, you kind of see where I've sanded, where it's lighter and then it's darker. That's because that is down below. So that will require a little sanding right there from the, right there at the front of the door up to the fender here. But it is sanding out very nicely and very easily. I'm using 800 grit first. Then I'll come back over 600 grit. And then I'll probably go right up to 1500. And then I'll stop and get my first coats of primer on. And then I'll come back and see, you know, how much I need to do to it from there. But, you know, overall, smooth. I mean, just a light sanding in it. I mean, it's as smooth as glass. So I'm not too worried about some of the little imperfections. And some of them look like it's just, you know, man-made. And the primer will take care of about 98% of that. I'm, you know, pretty confident in that. So once, you know, we get that, I don't think we're going to have to do a whole lot more to it. But I will work these areas out first. Same way with this. I am going to drop down to probably like a 400 grit. Maybe, meh. I say 800. 600, then 800, up to 1500. But I think I'm going to drop from the 6 down to about a 4 just in these areas. Little, you know, a little heavier abrasion. And then I'll come back over with the 800 or the 600, then up to the 800 and 1500 again, just to smooth out, you know, what I work with. Trying to keep in mind sanding in one direction, not all, you know, not in a circular motion. Little areas that it's hard to get to, you know, I just kind of try to go over them, just folding my sandpaper like that, and just, you know, get into those little areas to work them. You know, this body is on a in the printers on an angle like this, and then other components are underneath it. So the support marks are like down here on the lower balance of the car. They have sanded off beautifully with very little effort. You can kind of see, you know, everything's got to be final sanded. I think, I still got sand up here because there's the little contact points here. But I think what I'll do is, once I prime this, I think I'm going to come back and then just airbrush in the Malto. I'm sorry, brain fart there for a minute. But I will Malto in here, and then I'll use my putty that I normally use, and I'll work that in real good for when I do the body color. I think that's going to work out pretty good. There's a couple little, I don't know if you can see them. Yeah, right here above my finger. A couple little, whatchamacallit, points, support points. I'll have to just kind of take my knife and pop those off, and then a little piece of sandpaper in there and sand those down. A couple little tedious things. Nothing, you know, nothing normal that you wouldn't do for any other kit. But I just want to make you aware, because I did mention this before, that it kind of looked like something, but it felt smooth. Well, now that I've kind of just done a base sanding, I can kind of feel that and see that more so. And you can see on the driver's side. You know, I still got to go down further to get rid of them. But they're not bad. It's sanding nice and easy. I'm not really having to put any effort into it. I got a little more sanding to do on the hood, the trunk deck, and then, of course, across the back a little bit. And then down the passenger side. But I'm just taking my time. You know, I want it to have a nice, smooth paint finish on it. And you know, I was able to find the pictures of the car from SEMA. And, you know, it was a cool looking car. And it's badass because it's a two-door. I don't care about the electric part of it. You know, how long do you think, guys, before, you know, 5-6 years, if they actually put this out in production, you know, after it's been out in production 5-6 years, that somebody doesn't take this and take all that electric stuff out of it and put a gas engine down in it? It's not going to be long. And guys that's got, you know, endless amounts of money will do it right away. Just because of the fact that it's a two-door. And it's got that cool stance, you know, and that slope in the hood. It's just a matter of time. We're going to start seeing a lot of different, you know, unique custom jobs done on this thing. And even the electric engine in it. I mean, you guys know Teslas, how quick and fast they are. You don't think that this is not going to be any less than that. This will probably be faster. And give all those electric cars, you know, run for money. I'm sure Dodge is probably trying to compete with the hypercars and the supercars and all that. And, you know, they top the world with the, you know, the Hellcat and the Hellfant and, you know, all the versions of the new age Hemi. I think they're ready to go up into the, you know, the next level. And I'm looking forward to it. As long as they don't take this car and turn it back into a four-door. That would ruin it all for me. But enough of that. We will continue working on that, and I'll keep you posted on it. The main one that's been on the bench is the 32. We'll do a little talk here first. So I had all aspects and hopes, and my plans were to fit the Boss, you know, 429 down in here, the supercharged. Everything was fine. It would have worked, and I could make it work. But it would require to turn a decent build into something a lot more than I want to get into right now. I've got enough with the Ring Brothers Charger and, you know, Wife's Choice and Viewer's Choice and, you know, everything else that we've started and we're not going to get done versus doing another one. So what can we do to still make it kind of a showpiece and give it, you know, that look? So we did. Key points: the custom windshield is with it. It does not want to fit. I had a viewer tell me that, you know, beware of that, and I was aware of that, and I got it out, and he is very correct. It doesn't want to sit in place. You would have to almost paint it body color and lose the chrome finish, which I did not want to do. Only for the fact of, you know, the time it takes to strip the chrome, all the sanding and everything else. The windshield has got a couple light spots on the top, but I can hit that with a Molotov pen and touch it up, and none the wiser. So what I did, or what did I do? I got it in a position where it actually sit, and, you know, it was a little warped. I put the heat gun to it and got it soft, and I manipulated it, and I put it in place where I wanted it, and then I took my pencil and I kind of just traced a line on the back side of the windshield across the top of the cowl. That way I knew exactly where I wanted the windshield frame. It looked right. It fit the part. And then what I did after that was I measured the bottom of the window frame from the very point to the very back. And I took that measurement and I split it in half. I made me a little mark and I drilled a hole. And mind you, the windshield sits at a slope. So I drilled my angle, not in the frame, but I drilled the angle in the body. In the frame, I drilled it straight up and down, and I only went in just enough to get a pin in there and put super glue on it, and I put it in place. I let it sit for a couple days, and then I came back, and then I transferred my mark to the body for the measurements I had, and then I drilled at an angle, the angle that the windshield the frame sits at. With that binds that pin. So when you put it in, you're at an angle and you got to push it down. It kind of not pops, but boom, you know, it goes right into place. That hole being at an angle in the body binds that pin and holds the windshield where it needs to be. I mean, not that you couldn't hit it, knock it, and candy-wampus it, but for all intents and purposes, it doesn't move and go anywhere. I mean, I can turn it upside down, shake it, and everything else. It just doesn't go. That little bit of bind on that pin keeps that windshield exactly where it needs to be. We're going to take a look at it, and I'll pull it off and show you what I'm talking about. I've got it kind of mocked up right now, just to kind of make more marks inside. And when I say inside, since we couldn't put the Roots 429 in it, we're opening the trunk, and not just for the detail, but we're going to turn it into the rumble seat, kind of like Stacey Daniels, version. I really like that. I've never done it before. I mean, I've opened trunks, but I've never, on a 32 and, try to replicate the rumble seat in the back. So that's what we're going to do. And right now I've got my marks with it being mocked up, so I know where the back plate will go. The side plates, I know where they go. We've got our pieces in to hold the trunk in place. And when I cut the trunk out, the trunk itself looks really nice. As you can see, the shape stayed the way it needs to be. I did lose a little material on the sides, but if you split the difference, it's not bad at all. I'm not going to add any material to that and have to work all that down, because I'm not too worried about a little gap on each side. It fits good and flush at the top and good and flush at the bottom. The problem is that, I don't know if you can see it on camera, there's a little bit of an angle on this. So when I was scribing, I'm holding it like this, and I'm scribing and not thinking, well, I scribed a real wide gap trying to, cut the trunk out. And I was like, oh crap, I just screwed the whole body, what do I do now? It's the only kit I have. I'm not going to, ask Mark to send another one, because I messed it up, So what do we do? It's a good question. What do we do? In that situation where you've made a kind of a fatal mistake, and we go back to our roots of, we ball on a budget and we don't have money to buy 2 or 3 kits at a time, or of the same kit, to, oh well, I'll just pull a body out of the other one for now and we'll keep moving. That is a nice thing to do and have, but to me it's not feasible. And I know most of you guys out there feel the same way. It's not real feasible to do it. I will eventually buy another one of these kits, maybe in 2 more, but not just for the sake of having them in case I mess something up and I can just swap out parts or whatever. So I'm lucky enough that, like I say, I buy stuff in bulk. So I don't necessarily buy, whatever, Evergreen brand or whatever the other brands are. There's generic brands out there, and they're a lot cheaper. So I buy bulk of miscellaneous thicknesses, and you usually get like 2 sheets of each, and I think there's 3 or 4 different thicknesses, and it's like $7 or $8. I'm talking like computer paper size sheets. Give you an example. So that's not one. Hold on a second, I'll give you an example. You can see I've cut off this one. So it's from here to here, and from here to here. So, well, from here to there. So that's about, oh, let's see. I can give you kind of an exact. So that's 6. 10 inches long. I think it's like 8 inches wide. Yeah. 10 by 8 sheets for like $8. I got them on Amazon. And they're, all different thicknesses. There's the super thin, then there's the medium, and then there's the thicker. And then there's one in between, one or the other. But, it's like that thick in the package of all this styrene. That crap will last for years. In the same way for the square tubing, round tubing, L channel, whatever it is. There's off-brand companies that, it's a lot cheaper. It still bonds and works the same way with my thin set. It melts and bonds just like everything else. So we'll take a look at it here. I'll show you. Here we go. So my gap ended up being too big down here. So I just took 2 of the thin layers. I put my first piece in. Let it dry really good, and then I added my second layer, and then I kind of just manipulated where I needed to be, and then I just sanded across the face here to get the styrene smooth, and where it needed to be. And then I came back over to my putty, and then I worked it from the bottom up, and then went across my edge to get off the excess. And I let that dry, and then I just lightly sanded it, kept sanding until I worked everything out other than what's in the cracks. So now when I prime, I'll be able to see where I need to add more, if any. It looks like I'm going to have to in a couple little areas on that far right side there. It's got to be cleaned up a little bit and then sanded down a little bit more. But then I got my little, drip rails installed. Get it to focus. There we go. And, the trunk. Well, it's going to be hard to do with one hand here, but there we go. So you can see I've got a little bit of a gap, but if I split the difference, it's just about accurate. Nice following the line at the bottom and nice at the top. It doesn't sit too high anywhere. Sits exactly how it's supposed to. So now what I got to do is figure out a hinge mechanism for back here so that it tilts up and the bottom part of this goes down inside and creates the backrest of the rumble seat. That I've not got no ideas on that yet. But you can see I kind of got the door panels, the dashboards all mocked up inside. Everything fits good. Just a little light sanding, just to kind of close up tiny little gaps. That all gets painted. And then we get, now we can go back to our original engine. We are using the kit engine, but we're adding, I'm going to scale down a tunnel ram from a 572 down to a 350. And the carburetors, and use a tunnel ram setup on this. We are using the kit exhaust, which I've got a lot of it painted. I still got to do the, heat staining, paint the clamps, the exhaust tips, black wash them. I did drill those out. They're not going to show up. There we go. A little bit. You can kind of see where I drilled them out. And they got to get chromed. I chrome my clamps, and then I'll black wash it, and then I'll do some heat staining. Because, no matter what, this car is putting off a lot of heat through the exhaust. So, stainless steel pipes, they're going to stain, leave the heat marks behind. And then we get to our windshield. Once this is, would I ever glue this down? I don't think I'm ever going to glue it down, even though the pin kind of keeps everything right where it needs to be. I say that because you never know. You may squirt some glue out from underneath there, and then you get it on your nice paint job. It's just not worth it when I can just, set my window in the frame after I get everything touched up here. You can see there's just two little spots. I've already lightly sanded them, so I just need to monotone and put my windshield in, or my glass, and then I can always just put it in. And then let me put you back up here for a second. And then we'll take a look so you can see how I pinned it. You can see the pin is straight up and down. If it'll focus, there we go. The pin is straight up and down, but the tiny little hole in the cowl is drilled at an angle. There we go. That way it binds and it holds the windshield in place. And let's see if I can do this. Nope. I don't have my other tripod set up, guys, so bear with me here a second. We're going to try this by using my arm as a rest. No time like the present to get good, huh? Boom. Just like that. And I put fingerprints all over the chrome. And then, I can just work it, get it, level. And it sits where it needs to be. Here's the little cattywampus. There we go. So you can see, I got the same reveal across the back. It is still a little crooked, but when I put it on, you know, for show or whatever, it'll get set right in place. And it's a way to store it while moving it around. Like taking it to a show or something. I don't have to worry about the windshield getting broken off or anything like that. I can just take it off, wrap it up separately, and when I get to a show, install it, and then, none the wiser. It's just an efficient way to something that would have created a lot of problems and ruined the whole build by one of you guys pointing out, hey, be aware of this. You might want to use this, that, or the other. The stock frame, it's more rectangle, and it's got the curved down brackets. Those I would still drill those out and pin those and make all your marks prior to sanding and painting. And, that way you can flex that a little bit and, stab them down in the holes, and that'll hold it in place too, because even gluing that in place, you're risking the chance of smudging glue everywhere, and nobody wants to do that. The exhaust has got a little bit longer to dry. The glass packs I painted with Testers, Model Masters, enamel red, it's Chevy engine red. And I want to come back over these with some Tamiya clear red over them to make them pop a little bit more. So I got a little bit more work to do on this. Then I can kind of just, put them up to the side. Let me take the frame off. We wallered those holes out just a little bit more, not where they're both the same. I just ran my file in there a little bit and opened them up a little bit. That way I can get the exhaust in there. Usually you'd have the exhaust in place and then put the trans support in after. But, we jumped the gun, of course. But no harm, no foul. They slide right in there with no problems. You just work them down in there, and then once I'm ready and this is all painted, I'll glue them into place. So this will all be body color, because remember, we're going show rod. The diff will all get painted. The coilovers, no, we're going to do those up. We're going to detail paint a lot of that. We'll probably use some Tamiya blue, clear blue over the chromed areas to really highlight the springs, and then do some black wash in between, create some depth. The interior, the first coat will be all body color. Then we'll have to start masking off carefully to paint our interior color, which is that the beige. For the backs or the rumble seat, I'm not sure on how I'm going to do that yet. I'm going to look through my mass amount of extra parts and see if I have something that has the diamond tough that's close to what's in the kit, where I can cut pieces out and use that and make my own rumble seat. Worst case scenario, I'll use the craft foam and roll out the pattern on it. But we will, flock the trunk area. We will flock the floorboard. And we're going to put different door handles on the inside. The outside we'll use the kit handles. So, we're some touches of detail here and there, and some changes, a little modifying, but trying to stay true to the nature of the car, which is just an old school hot rod. And, putting a little of my own flair in there and some aftermarket parts where I can. And just trying to make it look as real as I possibly can. So, down in the comments, let me know what you guys think so far. Just try to put that back on there. The body does marry to the chassis very well. There is a little, what I call rocking. But once it's glued down, and I'll probably put a clamp on it of some sorts, or tape to hold it all together until the glue dries. That way I don't have no more of that, the body wanting to lift off in the front. And then, we're using the huge wide tires in the back, the skinny tires in the front. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. It's coming along the way I want it to now. I fought for 2 or 3 days trying to get that, the whatever it's called, roots, 420, 429, 428, big block Ford, to stay actually true to the nature, all Ford parts. I would have to stretch the frame a little bit. And that's really about it. And I didn't want to go through all that. None of this time. We may visit that on another one. But for this one, we're going to just kind of stay true, and we just did a few little extra details that, the kit doesn't have, or it does, but we just enhance them. So, again, down in the comments, you guys can let me know what you think so far. We did decide to go with a Morgan's Automotive pre-wired distributor. The red wires, gray cap. We have a coil pack. It's one of mine. The MSD, already got it painted. You see, so I'll put my little plug boot over the end there and slide my wire in there, and then I'll get mounted to the firewall. We do have aluminum pulleys and belts. Well, they're not, belts aren't aluminum, but real rubber belts, and then the pulley set. Figure out how to incorporate that in. I do have the Morgan's Automotive Detail, the red heater hoses. This car will have heat. It's got the new age heater box that's up underneath the dash. You don't see it from the outside, but our hoses will run in, and we'll create a bracket to support off the side of the engine to come up and hold the hoses up, and where they feed into the firewall. I'll probably use a piece of sprue from Photo Etch. We'll make our little bracket for that. And we're going to add all that detail to the interior, all the little screw heads, everything to just make what's there, boom, right in your face. I think it's going to look really good. But we're getting really close to, once I can figure out this freaking setup for this, because I want it to open up and go down inside it a little bit to create that backrest. I don't want it just to open and be super tall in the back. I want it to come down and be, kind of like this part here would come down and meet the back of the base of the seat, and then when it closes, it goes up and it shuts like it's supposed to. So this cushion would meet this cushion when it's closed. I have only been in one car that had a rumble seat in it. I was a very young man, and it was the coolest thing ever. We got an old Chevy Caprice station wagon. It was white. It had the wood paint, grain panels going inside. It had the kind of the rumble seat in the back of it. You lift it up in the cargo area, and it created a seat for 2 people, which, this rumble seat. So that was really cool too, even though it was in a newer age car. We had an accident on the way back from my grandfather's funeral and destroyed the car, so no more of that. But it was fun being a young kid. I was a teenager then, sitting in the very back of that, and I didn't have to worry about my little brother and sister bothering me. I had the whole back to myself. I could whatever I was into at the time, being 14, 15 years old, I think somewhere around there. It wasn't a whole lot of things, but I had room to do it. I could draw, I could, color, whatever, to occupy my time for the trip. And it was just nice having that space to myself. On the way back, we had so much stuff packed into the back of the car that we all three, me, my brother, and sister, had to sit in the very back seat, which was horrible. But, what are you going to do? So we're going to call it quits here, guys. Again, I hope you enjoy or are enjoying this build as much as I am. I am a little let down about the engine, but we are going to get creative. When a roadblock hits you, you can either stop and put it away, or you can figure out a way to get over that wall. And I think we've figured out a way to get over the wall. Now we just got another wall that we created by trying to create that rumble seat. And I don't know if there's any kits out there of the same scale that has, you know, I'm sure there is, that has the rumble seat and it has the cushion part, the bottom and the top, that I could modify to fit in there. That would be probably a lot easier than what I'm about to have to go through and scratch build everything. More rewarding to scratch build it, but time is a factor here. And again, be aware, 2 points. This side is pretty smooth. It looks like it's not, but it really is. I mean, I'm running my finger over there and I don't feel the humps. A little bit like right in here. So I know I got some more sanding to do. And those are the only 2 spots, is there and there. And it's wide space. It's easy to get in there and sand. And, you know, just take your time. Don't be in a rush. Just work it until you get it down to where you don't have these lines anymore. And you're golden. The rest of them pretty much sand away. You know, you can still kind of see them. But if I wet my finger and wipe it over that, you don't, where I've sanded, you don't see it anymore until you get up in here. And I did wet that, so I can see I got a little more sanding right in here to do. So that's a good way. You know, you don't want to completely submerge it, but maybe a real soft cloth that's damp, and just wipe off your excess dust from sanding, and you'll kind of see where you have to sand some more and where you don't need to sand some more. But it does sand very nice, guys. No effort. I mean, Joel really produced a great kit. And remember, 1111 to 1120 is the only time you can get this. The code Rusty, capital R, lowercase UST, TY, 10, that's your discount code. Through that to get this, and for the entire month of November, on the web store only. So, if nothing more, get over there and get signed up for his monthly newsletter. Packed full of great discounts on other stuff, and sneak peeks of stuff, you know, and show Joel some love. And you know, he went above and beyond on this one. This is going to look really nice. The one I saw in real life was red. You know, we're doing ours in green. So, you know, those are your choices. You get to do. And it's really amazing, guys. The side I haven't sanded yet, I can kind of feel. It's not rough, but I can feel it. Smooth, but rough. Side I've already sanded is like glass. And that's using, I haven't even got to the 800 yet. That's just using 600. You know, once I finally sand it all the way out, using the steps, that body will be nice, and the primer should lay down really smooth. And I can look for any more affected areas. We'll get more of that in other videos. You guys have a safe weekend. I hope you get some modeling in. Like I said, I can probably try to work on the shop a little bit and maybe tinker with this stuff a little bit more. And then I can get at it again Monday hard, and we'll have a mental Monday. I've got to think of a subject because we've kind of gone a complete circle. We did leave one thing out. It's just a topic, and maybe we'll talk about that, because I've seen other people start to talk about it a little bit, and seen some stuff from shows pop up about it, and it does pique my interest a little bit, and it's just a category, so we'll see. It'll either be that or something else, but definitely we'll have a mental Monday. If anything comes in the mail, which I am expecting, we should have some things to look at Monday also, and the mental part. You know, I am mental. No getting around that, guys. We are growing, and I appreciate that. I can't even come up with the words to say it. So, you know, keep it coming. If you like this stuff, you know, subscribe to my channel. Hit that bell notification, you know, when these videos come out. We got so much in the pipe works for all next year, and what we got, you know, time of this year, to kind of get things ready and prepped and stocked up and ready to go. You know, the channel's going to change a lot after the first of the year, and we're going to be, you know, for lack of better words, assholes and elbows into all this and a lot more. Don't expect the dioramas to be done, you know, like that. They will take quite a while, and I'm just going to try to break it up into videos of a little bit of what I've done to one, a little bit what I've done to the other, and so on and so forth, and then focus on our main stuff that comes in every month that we will be building on a regular. Budweiser, it's been cleared. I gotta wait for the clear to harden, and then I will be finishing up the body detail. Excuse me. And then we can get on to some sub-assemblies and some final assemblies of that. And then we can move on to the ramp truck. But it's just all going to take a little while. So again, guys, I thank you. Thumbs up, thumbs down. Leave your comments down below. Mark Hobby Nut Models. His link's always down there. Go check it out. Pick you up a little something. It's going to help bring more great stuff like this to the channel. You can see how my twisted mental mind, sculpts it and manipulates it into something. And again, thank you. We'll see you guys on Monday. This is Rusty Roader. I'm out.